Welcome everybody to Cooking with Ken. I am Chef Mark. It has been a while since we've been back here filming for the Creative Culture series, but we are excited to start back with something very simple using some vegetable from our own garden. We've got some eggplants here that we've grown that we're going to use in a cashew curry. It's going to get some kale, some of these bell peppers and onions you see here. Without further ado, let's dive right in. On my cutting board, I've got 5 cloves of garlic, 2 1-inch knobs of ginger. These are all just going to get minced. Very easy work. Running my knife over them until I've almost paste. Yeah. So this recipe is by no means unique, but something I sort of organically came upon after working at Milkwood. We used to have other chefs come in and host dinners for one evening a week, during which we would get many different new kinds of foods in. One that particularly caught my attention that I absolutely loved was an Indian cashew curry. And I was thinking, you know, this curry is absolutely delicious, but it's just not meaty enough for me. And eggplant is not something that I haven't seen in curries before, but decided to go ahead and add that into the mix, added some kale for green, and ended up with this. Though I'm certain you'll find this everywhere on the internet. Kale's in everything, right? All right, got our garlic and ginger nicely minced up. Into the bowl. Now we're going to get a small dice on our red onion, only half of it. Peel away that outer skin. There we go. Starting always with my horizontal incisions. Never cutting all the way through the onion. Now coming down vertically. Very easy knife work. Less time on onions means less likelihood for me to cry on camera. Now we're going to get our whole bell pepper diced. Just cut all these lobes off. Ooh, goodness, spoke too soon. Here comes that onion. Ooh. All right, after my brief cry break, getting back to these peppers, our vitamin C rich capsaicin. Now, the eggplant we're going to be using, while of course rich in vitamins and minerals like any other fruit or vegetable, is also cited to specifically help with anemia, brain health, heart health, and bone health. I found the anemia particularly interesting, but that pepper's all done now. Moving on to our aubergine. Fancy name for eggplant for those folks if you wanted to sound a little bit more impressive at parties. Remove those green tops and any of that's residing on the side. These are rounded, so of course we're going to start by creating a flat surface. So cut these into some large slabs. And I'm using 2 fairly small eggplants here. You can use 1 large or medium eggplant as long as the mass is about equal relatively. Create some room and dice. Excellent. Now all of this is going to cook pretty quickly. Our eggplant, if it cooks too long, is going to develop this very spongy and mushy texture that's not quite palatable. So getting my heat on to medium high. As per usual, we're going to give that about a minute to come to temperature, get our cold oil into our hot pan, saute everything. Then over here we've got some coconut milk, our spice mix that we're going to add for our curry, a tablespoon of curry powder, a teaspoon of coriander, which is actually a byproduct of the cilantro plant. The seed that comes from cilantro ends up becoming our coriander spice, gets ground down, and that's your coriander. We've also got a little salt in here, some red pepper flakes. Now, coat oil into my hot pan. Before I even bother adding any of my vegetables, I'm going to add my spice mix actually just to make this a lot more fragrant, a little more potent. Want to really taste that curry flavor, get a very nice toasty flavor evoked from it. We're going to let that cook for just a minute to again get that toasting action on. Get a little more potent flavor in our curry. And you'll be able to smell it as it continues cooking, just getting more and more fragrant. I've got a perfume of curry in the kitchen. Let's go ahead and get this added in. Again, we're not cooking this particularly long. We're just trying to get a little tenderness in our vegetables because we still have our liquid component to add. And as this cooks and simmers in liquid, of course, it's going to break down further. As we continue to let that cook, I'm going to get our kale ready. Our kale is going to go in towards the very end of this. I've got about half a bunch in front of me here. Just getting all this off the stem. And the reason I'm going to add the kale at the end is because it's going to, like the eggplant, but much faster, wilt down and become mush much more quickly. I want to retain just a little bit of crispness, a little bite. I love textural contrast. But of course, you're making this for yourself at home. If you want your kale cooked all the way down, that's your business, not mine. Just gonna roughly chop this. Not worried about the piece being particularly big because again, as they cook, they're going to break down and wilt more. It's not going to look like as much kale as there is right here. Got some onion peel there. That curry smell is just getting stronger over here. My onions are just beginning to turn translucent, so they'll probably take about a minute more. I'm going to get this lime cut in half. And we're going to juice this lime in at the very end of all of this. Again, that's going to, not because the lime's going to cook down any kind of way, but because I don't want any bitterness to my curry. Whenever a lime cooks for a too long period of time, it becomes less acidic and more almost ferric in taste. And for those of you that don't mean it means like iron. Now we've got my veg about where I want it, all in with my can of coconut milk here. Got a good stir. Now there's a nice little bit of sweetness from the coconut milk mixed in the air. It's not particularly bright in color as many curries are. You can mend this by either adding more curry powder, or you can add turmeric for a much brighter orange color, or something like paprika or a lighter smoky pepper that's going to add redness. But with all that in now, I'm going to go ahead and add my cashews. I've got 2 cups of cashews here, all in. I'm going to let this simmer for about 5 minutes. Again, not trying to get my eggplant to a mushy consistency, just getting it a little bit tender and making our cashews a little more tender as well. So let's get this heat reduced to about medium. And here in about 5 minutes, we'll come back, add our kale, get our lime juiced in, and we'll have some nice curry to eat for lunch. I've got some brown rice prepared here for our curry to go on once it's done. Nothing special about it, just 1 part rice cooked to 3 parts water. Of course, not all rice is created equal, so pay attention to the directions on your bag, box, etc.
The reason for brown rice?
But I chose the brown rice in particular because it's higher in fiber content. So I chose brown rice specifically because of the higher fiber content. So I am going to be much more successful in digesting this meal with the combination of my rice and eggplant. And now that we've been stewing over here for about 5 minutes, it's time to get our kale all added in. Now add in 2 or 3 stages. Again, as it cooks, it'll wilt down. It's not going to be as much as seems. Just gently work it in. All my kale's in. All that's left is our little blessing of lime juice. And you don't have to add the lime juice. I add this because I like the acidic contrast and taste, the little bit of heat from the chili flake playing against the acid, playing with the sweetness of the coconut. Just a nice balance of flavors going on. Get that all stirred in really good, and we can kill our heat. And here we have our finished curry. Let's get that over rice and served properly. And there we have it, our eggplant and cashew curry. Very easily done. No meat whatsoever, but still pretty high in protein from our
There we have it,
our added. Very bright and verdant kale. Nice big chunks of cashews, onion, and eggplant. Some bell peppers. Time to give this a good bite. Absolutely delicious. The lime finish was everything I wanted. Again, just very, very bright dish for being something that looks seemingly heavy, doesn't feel like I'm eating a heavy dish. So very ideal for, keeping warm in the winter while also not keeping yourself groggy throughout the day. And I'm not burning my tongue this time, guys. Word to the chef. Special thanks to the Bridge Kids team, Stacey Bailey and Gerald Smith. I see you out there. Gerald, you're right there behind the camera. Without these two, we would not have gotten the garden to be as productive as it ended up being. Thank you all for watching. Again, if you would like to see anything else in future videos, leave some comments below. Remember to like and subscribe if you have not already. We will be steadily streaming more content. And we'll see you next time. Woo-hoo.